All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome in this first live session for this NPTEL course Introduction to Political Theory. I am Mithilesh Kumar. You can join me through YouTube or in this live session to discuss any doubts or share any thought or ideas that you may have about the course or course content. I'll be very happy to discuss them. So before this session, I think we have shared one Google Doc, and I don't see any question on that. So that's okay. Now, I mean, if you are joining us through YouTube, there also you can write your question, and I'm sure on the discussion forum your queries or questions are addressed. So if you have any question, you can ask them. So we have already started the live session. Some of you who are joining through YouTube link, you can type your question there, or on this live session, you can join, unmute yourself and ask any question if you have. Okay, so we have one learner through YouTube link asking, this is Pooja, and she's asking about, hi Pooja, good afternoon. She's asking about the difference between liberty and freedom. So, I think in the book I have, in the lecture on liberty, and also the, okay. So there is a number of questions from Pooja. Let me check. So yeah, my name Pooja. I think the way we look at this concept of liberty and freedom, we often use it interchangeably, right? But there are, many scholars who also make a kind of conceptual difference between these two terms. So yeah, my name. So liberty is often deployed more in a negative sense. That means I am free to the extent there is no restrictions on my actions or on my choice. Like this, I have Berlin idea of negative liberty. So it is seen as a freedom from, right? In a more so liberty or freedom, both um, both mean individual capacity to free or act on his or her own vision, right? Or decide what is good for himself or herself. Now, while exercising that right or freedom, whether one is free from any external impediment or restrictions, is seen as liberty, whereas freedom is more in a positive sense of freedom to do something. So I hope, I think in the lecture I have discussed Hannah Arendt, even Foucault, where liberty or freedom is something which you actually realize while doing certain things. So unlike liberty as freedom from uh, experiment, external experiment or restrictions, freedom is individual capacity to realize his or her, freedom, and that is through engagement with others, through overcoming the experiment or restrictions that is there on your action. So freedom is more in a positive sense, which you realize by acting on your rights. Liberty is a kind of negative thing where it's a kind of free from any external restrictions on your action. So that's a very basic nuance in the understanding of the two terms. I am sure in the lecture I have discussed in detail. You can go back to that lecture, and if you have any question, you can write it here if you are online, or also you can use the discussion forum for further discussion on that. Okay, Pooja is also asking about the harm principle given by John Stuart Mill. So, I mean, this again is, I think, within the concept of freedom or liberty, where um, John Stuart Mill talks about these two kind of functions, self-regarding and others regarding, and talks about self or individual should be left free to make decisions or do whatever he or she wants to do about her life. He gives only one condition on which society or external authority can interfere in the matters of individual, that is preventing him for doing harm to others. So only John Stuart Mill in Liberty gives maximum freedom to the individual. But only one condition he gives, that society or humanities can interfere in the liberty of individual, is to prevent him or her from doing harms to others. So that's the harm principle from John Stuart Mill. I hope I have answered this question. If you have further question, you can ask, and also use the discussion forum for that. Okay. So we have one more question from Pooja, that is about liberalism and libertarianism. So Pooja, that's very good question. I think I have discussed it in the lecture also, but liberalism is a philosophy which talks about individual as a basic unit for society or state, and how individual should should live together in a state which is seen as a necessary evil. So liberalism want to give maximum freedom to the individual. However, they realize the necessity of a state or authority as a necessary evil. So liberalism, the classical liberalism, is a thought or ideas, set of ideas that uphold individual liberty or individualism, or you can say possessive individualism. Libertarianism, on the other hand, go to the but even when liberalism accept individualism or possessive individualism, it recognizes the state as a necessary evil, or one can lead a life, enjoy the freedom or liberty within the state. However, libertarianism, on the other hand, look at freedom or individual life more like a license to do what one wants to do. So it also recognizes individual, but see state authority laws as an impediments to individual freedom, and look at freedom and liberty more as a license to do whatever one wants to do. For example, taking drugs, or doing whatever individual wants to do as justifiable ground, and do not want the state or laws to interfere with the individual choices. However, liberalism do recognize and talk about the role of authority or state to lead a meaningful life. I hope that answers your question, Pooja. Oh no, this question is from someone else. Really good if you can mention your name also. I think in the chat box it is written "We are political." Interesting name, but I'm waiting for some other questions, or people who are joining to ask any question or comment regarding to the topics, or you can also share your thought on the content and exam or anything that concerns you regarding this course. So you are welcome to share them. All right, we have one more question. We are political. What is your name? I mean, can you mention your name? How can we define power as in political perspective? I think we have a lecture on power, week 6. I'm sure you must have seen the video and also looked at the transcription. So uh, uh, power is a very central concept in political theory, political life, and there are different ways we look at this category of power, and we have to distinguish between, say, legitimate power in the form of authority or de facto power, which is like extra um, institutional or beyond the authority, beyond the legitimate de jure form of authority. For me, in the question is more about how Chindu Ram, Chindu, hi Chindu. So, I mean, political perspective. I mean, in this lecture, I have discussed with you Stephen Luke's views on power. I'm not sure I'm getting your question. And lots of things. So, do you want to understand what is power from the political perspective, or we can say power one's will? Are you referring to will to power, Nietzsche kind of understanding? Or how is it? So your initial question from the political perspective, for example, the main actor in our political life is political leaders or political parties, and they look at power in a more crude sense, that is occupying the authority or forming the government so that they can formulate a policy which they think is beneficial for the people. So politics is seen as a struggle for power, and on the basis of the support they get from the people, they form the government or they are in the opposition, and there is the constant battle for getting the majority to form the government. So, in political perspective, you have power understood as a crude, in a crude sense, individual or group's capacity to form the government and formulate the policy, govern the polity. So politics revolves around this struggle for power or competition for power among the various stakeholders, political parties, and political leaders. However, the way we understand power in political theory is slightly different. So, from Gramscian hegemony to Talcott persons to I think Foucault, and most importantly, Stephen Luke's, power operates at different level and it produces different kind of subjectivity. So I'll suggest you to go back to the lecture again, and if you have any question, you can certainly ask. I hope that answers your question, Chindu. Chindu Ram, yes. So I hope you find this course useful, ideas, lecture, or the reading materials that is given to you. Maybe I'll wait for a few more minutes for any more questions. And if there is no question, then we can end this live session. So for those learners who are joining late, you are welcome to ask any question, share your thoughts on the course content, or ask questions related to exam, questions, assignment, anything related to this course. And I'll encourage you all to use the discussion forum for any questions that you may have. All right, we have one more question about Edmund Burke. I think the spelling is incorrect. That's okay. Conservatism. Yeah, it's a very good question. So this is basically related to two sets of political ideology. One talks about social and political change, and other talks. So yeah, within those who talk about social and political change, large scale social and political change, you have one set of people um, who talks about revolution or transformation, which is quick or sudden or in a moment. So social political change is inevitable. However, those who are radical, revolutionary, they will talk about revolutionary, whether it's violent or non-violent type. That's a different question. But for them, there has to be a mobilization of human agency or people for bringing about large-scale socio-economic or political change in the society. Conservatism, on the other hand, believe in the uh, peaceful. Of course, within conservatism, you have different strands, but one of the strands believe that change is desirable, but sudden, abrupt change may lead to chaos or anarchy or violence. To prevent them, what they argue is the piecemeal change or the process of reform, for example. So within the existing structure, the change um, uh, that should be desirable or for which we should fight for is a piecemeal change in a slow, continuous manner rather than abrupt, radical, revolutionary changes. So Edmund Burke talked about that kind of change within the conservatism, and he was very critical of revolutionary large-scale change. I hope that answers your question. All right, any more question? Mm. Chinduram, I think guild socialism is a kind of these kind of questions you can also use the discussion forum. It's a very basic questions, which is like within socialism or political ideology, there are discussion on some of these forms of socialism, right? How certain group of people collectively manage their socio-economic affairs. So within the so you can go back to that lecture on political ideology, Chindu. So you can ask any question that is related to the course and the topic that we have covered. Um, and anything related to exam or assignment, I'll be happy to address. Okay, so if there is no more question, I would like to end this live session with this recommendation that you should use the discussion forum for any questions that is related to the course or exam or anything. So all the assignments or exam will come from the video lecture, the transcript, and the PPT of each video. So if you go through the lecture or so I think you need. There is a question from Sindhu again. I have no idea, sir, how I can do my assignment work. Actually, I am new here. So I am sure you must have enrolled to this course to NPTEL and registered for the exam. So once you enroll, you get weekly assignment on the platform. You submit the weekly assignment. Even if you have missed some assignment, you can submit the remaining of the assignment. And I would like to recommend you to get registered for the exam if you have not done so before. Exam registration is necessary for you to write the final exam. And to earn a certificate, you have to pass in both regular assignment, that is weekly assignment, and final exam. You cannot write the final exam unless you have registered for the course. So if you have not done it already, I'll recommend you to do so as soon as you can, and use the reading materials provided or the video transcript, video lecture. That should be sufficient for the weekly assignment as well as for the final exam. However, for those of you who are interested to know more about a particular topic, the last slide of each lecture gives you the reference. You can also use that to further expand your knowledge or pursue your interest in a particular topic. So with that, I end this live session. There will be another live session in coming months, and I welcome you all to join me for that live session. Thank you.